Inter Miami were absolutely embarrassed in the Leagues Cup final against Seattle Sounders. Now, Inter Miami had their chances to take the lead, tie this game, all these opportunities, but they failed miserably. And the game even ended with a brawl between the entire team's assistant coaches. Absolutely insane finish. Seattle ends up winning this game 3-0. Absolutely insane. And starting with the first half, right? Inter Miami didn't really look very good in the first half. The whole team collectively were bad, right? And one of the things I said about this game wasn't about the stars for either team going to be the deciding factor of winning this game. It was going to be between two players who are considered bad on their teams. It was going to be between De Rosario for the Seattle Sounders and Maxi Falcone for Inter Miami. These two guys, the weakest links of the team, I think. Bad attack for Seattle Sounders, bad defense for Inter Miami. That was going to decide who wins this match. And that's what happened. That's what happened. The Seattle Sounders were able to score with a beautiful cross from Alex Roldan in the 26th minute to De Rosario. And when they scored, I thought, this is not good because De Rosario, he struggles, right? He had a goal against the LA Galaxy, but if he's scoring earlier in the first half, that's a bad sign for Inter Miami, especially with a team that's hey, if you're enjoying the video, make sure you give it a like down below and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Our goal is to hit 10,000 subscribers by the end of this year. And with your help, I know we will reach that goal. So make sure you subscribe if you haven't already and hit that little bell notification so you never miss any of our videos. Now, back to the video. Inept in the attack. They're inept in the attack outside of Messi. They just are. And Luis Suarez was terrible in the first half. He was terrible. But when I think about the first half, the Seattle Sounders collectively, their midfield dominated. Their backline dominated. Andrew Thomas dominated. They just had a great game collectively. And yes, now some of you guys might not know, unless you're a Seattle fan or follow MLS very closely, you might not know a lot of these players for the Seattle Sounders. But as a team, collectively, they play great as a unit. They play great. And Inter Miami were horrible in the first half. I mean, they were horrible. Ian Frey looked bad. Maxi Falcone looked bad. Maxi Falcone's the one who gave up. Who was not marking De Rosario in the first half goal by Seattle. Lujan, terrible. Ustari, old. Alba, crosses were bad. The whole team collectively. And another thing, too, that I knew was a bad sign for Inter Miami was when Baltasar Rodriguez started on the bench, when Talasco Segovia started on the bench, and they had Rodrigo de Paul playing on the right side, that the attack is already so slow, so old. You can't have Rodrigo de Paul playing out of position. You just can't. Tadio Yende starting, worst player on the pitch in the attack by far. He might be worse than Maxi Falcone. I don't know. He might be. We'll get to that later in the second half about Tadio Yende, but he's bad. He's terrible. He doesn't need to be on this team. He's really, really bad. Seattle had their number, okay? So the first half, bad. Seattle dominated. 100% dominated, okay? Second half rolls around. Inter Miami. We saw them against Orlando City SC. We saw them play Orlando, who had them on they had their number in the first half. And the attack, the speed was absolutely killing Inter Miami. Killing them. They had their number. And they were able to make an incredible comeback and score 3 goals in the second half to beat Orlando City SC 3-1 in the Leagues Cup semifinal, right? And it kind of made me wonder, are they going to be able to do that as well? Are they going to have some second half magic, heroic, whatever you want to call it, right? They didn't make any substitutions at the half, 0. Javier Mascherano, absolute loser mentality, right? We'll talk about him in a little bit as well. But they didn't make any substitutions. They rolled the same starting 11 that Seattle manhandled in the first half. And they did have 2 golden chances. There was this one play by Luis Suarez. Now, I said Luis Suarez looked bad in the first half. He looked a little bit more lively in the second half. He had this one pass to Messi, and Messi missed an absolute sitter, like a goal that he would normally make. He just shot it way over the crossbar. Unconventional for Messi. Messi normally buries that, okay? But then There's this one play where Tadio Yende is one-on-one with the keeper, one-on-one with the keeper, and he misses it wide right. Wasn't deflected. A defender didn't win the ball. None of that. Literally one-on-one with Andrew Thomas, and he misses it wide right. They had two golden chances, golden opportunities to draw this game even. 1-1. And they missed both of them. Okay. And by that point, Seattle Sounders were parking the bus. They were just playing defensive heavy. They were being very, very defensive, playing defensive heavy. Brian Schmetzer was just ready, just holding on to that 1-0 lead. And they were subbing out De Rosario. They subbed out Jesus Ferreira. They subbed out Pedro de la Vega. Like they were defensive heavy in this second half. And we didn't see Telasco Segovia come in until like closer to the 60th minute, but he should have been subbed on at the half. He should have been starting. And then I'm thinking to myself, okay, Baltasar Rodriguez has to come on, right? Baltasar Rodriguez has to come on in the second half. He was the best player for Inter Miami in the first half of the Orlando City SC game. He didn't even sniff the field. He didn't even play. They bring on Fafa Pico in the 72nd minute. This was an embarrassing performance by Inter Miami. Javier Mascherano deserves all the blame. Now, some of these players, they don't deserve a free pass. Luis Suarez was bad. Messi really wasn't as good as we're used to seeing him play. But to be fair to Messi, he doesn't have help around him. As soon as he gets the ball, 2-3 defenders close in on him. There's nobody around who can do anything. I think that Ian Frey, Lujan, Suarez, Jordi Alba had horrible games. Ustari, horrible games. And Inter Miami, it did look like there might have been a handball on Seattle that you could have maybe called for a penalty in the box. But it's close. They reviewed it and said that, or the VAR, looked at it and said that there was nothing there to go to VAR, I guess. The video assistant refereeing, there wasn't anything there. So they wave it off. And then literally a minute later, Yannick Bright fouls Georgie in the box to give them a penalty. So then they score 2-0. It's over. And then they score again. Paul Rothrock scores in the 89th minute to seal the deal 3-0. This was an embarrassing performance by Inter Miami. Javier Mascherano was an absolute disaster. I'm telling you right now, I would probably put 80 to 85% of the blame on Javier Mascherano. I think he might coach better when he's in the press box than he does on the side of the pitch, on the sidelines. I think he's better up when he has higher elevation. You can see the game better. The results are better when he's up there, because when he's field side, he sucks. He's bad. I don't know if Javier Mascherano is going to be the manager next year, and I don't think Inter Miami can win an MLS Cup with this current team. They're not very good. They're not very good. They're bad. But the Seattle Sounders deserve a lot of credit too. They packed out the stadium. There were 60,000 people at this game. The atmosphere was electric. This is probably the most lively Seattle Sounders game there's been in years. In years. Absolutely incredible showing for the Seattle Sounders. Incredible showing for the Seattle Sounders. They deserve a lot of credit, the fans do, to show up for their team. They won Leagues Cup trophy. This is their 9th trophy in the club's history, I think, since they joined MLS. And they're the Leagues Cup champion. They're the Leagues Cup champion. Now, if they had a striker, they would be a lot more lethal, like a true bona fide finisher. But at the end of the day, it doesn't matter because they won. They were the best team in this tournament. They were. It started off with that 7-0 win against Cruz Azul, and now they're the Leagues Cup winners. They're lifting the trophy. They deserve a lot of credit. They deserve a lot of credit. It was a combination of Inter Miami beating themselves, but Seattle was really good too. They had a great game plan, and they deserve credit. They do deserve credit. So Inter Miami's got a lot of issues that they're going to have to figure out, and I just don't think they're going to be able to. This team just isn't that good. You take Messi off this team, it's not good. It's not as good as last year's team. And I think Mascherano's going to have to go because the team has regressed under him compared to last year. Be careful what you wish for. A lot of people wanted Tata Martino gone. I thought that it was justifiable to fire him after the embarrassing showing against Atlanta United. But you got to be careful. Sometimes the grass isn't always greener. And Seattle, they didn't sign a striker. We talked about that. They didn't sign anybody this window. Doesn't matter. Leagues Cup winners. And they won 6 games and I think that they only drew once, which was against Puebla, and they won on a penalty shootout. So incredible run, incredible run. Both of these teams will qualify for the CONCACAF Champions Cup, and we'll just have to see what happens. You have to let me know what you guys think. Did Seattle win this game, or did Inter Miami lose this game? Let me know in the comment section. And do you think that Javier Mascherano should be fired? Let me know what you guys think. And make sure that if you enjoyed this video, you give it a like down below. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. And hit that little bell notification so you never miss a video. Until next time, guys, I will see you all soon.